Vocal information by asking.
Many students have very naive views of knowledge. They think that knowledge is fixed and can't change. This is according to a study conducted at the Northwest University in South Africa.
Our research focused on personal epistemology, which is the study of the beliefs and the assumptions that people, in this case students, have about knowledge. For example, do people think that knowledge is something fixed, or can knowledge change? Do students think that knowledge comes from books, or do they think that you can come up with knowledge on your own? Where do they think knowledge comes from? Do they think they have a right to question authority, or don't they?
This study did quantitative sampling on 1,230 students and qualitatively interviewed 7 individuals, several lecturers and 2 focused groups, all from the Northwest University.
Our research showed that students struggle with conceptual and abstract knowledge, that they tend to focus on very concrete knowledge, where, for example, instead of understanding a theory and the complexity of it, they will learn an example as a concrete way of understanding the topic, and then only give you the example in the exam. So,
a fact, he says, makes students find it hard to integrate knowledge, instead choosing to learn many facts.
That they're very uncomfortable with ambiguity. They want certainty. They want to know, but this is like this or like that. They don't like it when there are multiple possibilities. They struggle to take different perspectives on knowledge. They want to see truth as being one way and not another way.
According to the research, some of the factors that have led to such fears among students are that most school systems, and not just in South Africa, but in many African countries, are inadequate and very often focus on teacher education. The absence of good role models for students, overloaded classes which makes teachers not pay attention to individual students. Many schools also lack books, while in some cases teachers keep classes.
Also in our country, where there's been a lot of previous disadvantagement through the apartheid regime and so on, many people through that did not have access to certain opportunities, and poverty is a big issue. It would be interesting to replicate these studies in other places to see if the same kind of things hold, but we suspect based on literature that it might be the case as well in other places.
But it's not all gloom. To overcome such handicap in education systems, courses focused on personal epistemology be re-evaluated to make them more effective feedback be given to students, for example, about their assignments. Better teacher training is also required.
We've had several situations where teachers scored worse on some of the tests and the exams than the pupils that they were teaching. We feel that it can be improved. The next phase of our research would look at specific ways in which we can work to improve this, because it's got a definite effect on developing intellectual leadership. Without epistemological development, if you don't have a sophisticated view of knowledge, your thinking will be limited no matter how much you know.
Professor Neil, who was speaking during a presentation at the ISCCP, hopes that such a conference will help in networking with like-minded individuals in making better education systems for a more intellectual generation in future.
By linking up with someone else who's doing something similar, we can see if the same findings hold in other places. So I think there's power in joining with others who are like-minded.
A research article, Personal Epistemology of University Students of the Yan Institute of Behavioral Sciences, says that most recent interviews have challenged previous research on the development of personal epistemology, arguing that this development has been shown to be difficult to explore. In fact, when critically evaluated, Likert type measurements and questionnaires have failed to indicate the development and growth of personal epistemology. Instead, understanding of the complexity of individual personal epistemology has been more reliably achieved with qualitative methods, according to the research. This particular research at Northwest University incorporated both quantitative and qualitative methods of sampling. Perhaps a wake-up call for reviews in teacher education versus knowledge acquisition to a continued generation of intellectuals. Violet Otindo reporting at ISCCP conference in Stellenbosch, South Africa.